Hey guys, welcome to Anonymous Storytellers. I'm Cole, and
I'm Zen. Today we have a surprise for you guys.
yesterday we have a special guest introducing Malcolm.
Thought it was anonymous.
Yeah, okay. Well, today we'll be reading My Property Isn't Normal, written by Murder Bird 17. This is an 8-part series, so if you'll like it, let us know.
Yeah, let us know if you guys enjoy it.
Let's get ready. Let's read.
Right? My property isn't normal. You could say I live in the middle of nowhere. I prefer to call it in the middle of wilderness, though. And after living alone out here long enough, I thought I would become familiar with the land out here, and even get comfortable. But I never got comfortable. Maybe used to this place, but never comfortable. Pretty sure I can hold my own out here, time being, but even so, lots of weird shit happens out here. Glad to finally have a way to tell strangers who probably won't judge or call me crazy, though. Back to the topic at hand. Weird stuff. I'll start with the first odd experience I had here. When I first purchased this land, I was really excited. There was already a house on the property that was the perfect size for me. Not only that, but it seemed pretty new. Like the former owners didn't stay around very long. Yeah, red flags, but how was I supposed to know how messed up this place was? Anyway, I moved in without any issues, and within a week, I'm out on some of the trails that were already there, looking for deer tracks and other game trails. I'm actually having a pretty relaxing time until I swear I hear baby say, "Mama," in the most stereotypical voice I've ever heard off in the distance. Now, like I said, I'm here in the middle of nowhere, so there shouldn't be anyone for miles. I just shook it off as I'm hearing things. 20 minutes go by and I hear the same voice say, "Mama," again. Only this time it's 40 yards away on the other side of some trees and brush. It didn't even sound like a real baby. It just sounded like some disturbed dude. Of course, at this point, he was definitely on my property as well. I start making my way through the undergrowth. Then, when I'm sure I'm about to hit where he was, the brush clears out to a clearing, and I finally get a glimpse of the man. He was butt-ass naked and halfway behind a tree, and flaunting a huge smile while his eyes stayed kinda squinty. He was also pretty skinny, as I could see his ribs. Now, usually you hear people say that. At this moment, my blood ran cold. But honestly, mine didn't. I was looking at some butt-naked crackhead trespassing on my property. He decided to let out another "Mama" during silence, while I was trying to figure out my next move. So I promptly responded with a hearty, "What the actual fuck are you doing?" That's when he decided my next move for me.
He started running at me, and I might have run away if he hadn't been so scrawny. So when he reached me with that big smile and looked like he was about to grab me, I punched him in the throat. It was a good punch. I was proud of it, honestly. It would have kept any normal man on the ground for at least a minute. This is when I got the first hint that this wasn't a normal man. While I was standing there, proud of my Mike Tyson level haymaker, the guy immediately got back to his feet, and before I had time to hit him again, he dove and tackled me to the ground. And it hurt pretty bad. He somehow pinned my shoulders to the ground, and no matter how hard I kicked and punched him, he wouldn't let up. So I was forced to use Plan B. I pulled out my trusty Bear Grylls survival knife and stabbed him in the gut twice. This finally got his attention, and he hopped back to his feet, slinging blood all over me in the process. I got back to my feet, knife in hand, and waited for him to do something else. All he did, though, was stick a finger in his wound, then lick the blood off. Then cartwheel into the woods, crying like an actual newborn baby this time. Now, by this point, I was pretty on edge, and right as he got far enough away that I could no longer hear him, I turned and walked home. I know I should have run, but running through the woods is so tiring, and I just didn't feel like it. When I got home, all was normal again for a while. Another story that comes to mind when I think about odd things happening to me around the area is the event that led to me no longer camping in the woods. By the time that the events in this story took place, I had already experienced quite a few things on this property, and this was easily the third freakiest thing to happen up to this point. Right behind the naked stab victim that cried like a newborn baby and cartwheeled into the woods. This time, I had decided that I had wanted to go camping. Despite all the stuff that happened, I had never been seriously in those woods. So why not go sleep in them? Bad choice, I know. Anyways, the first few hours when I got into the woods went fine. I set up camp, built a fire, burned myself trying to cook a hot dog, piss on the fire that burnt me. Then I started to realize camping is pretty boring when you're all alone. So I decided to go to sleep. Next thing I know, I wake up to the sound of a young girl's voice down the creek. Sounds like she's college age. She's saying, "Help, I need some help down here. I'm lost. Dad, help." And I can hear her down in the creek from my tent. Now, this isn't the first time I've been lured into the woods by a voice pleading for help, but this voice was a lot more convincing than the others. Nonetheless, I still brought my newly purchased 45 caliber handgun that I had bought for dealing with things on the land.
I made my way into the creek, flashlight in hand, and headed down to the voice. Soon I found the source. Now I didn't put the flashlight beam on her right away because I didn't want to blind her, but I could clearly see the outline of a small girl sitting on the bank of the creek. I got about 15 feet away and she stopped me, stating that you really don't need that flashlight with the moon out like this. It wasn't even close to a full moon, so that confused me a little. I replied with, "I don't know about you, but I can't see a thing out here. Let me help you though. Are you hurt?" Then I started to shine the flashlight on her, but she screamed, "Stop!" Before I got to her face, this time her voice wasn't as convincing. I could tell she wasn't human. Now what you guys need to realize is that I'm not a badass. I'm not trying to sound cool or tough. But ever since something happened 3 years ago, the same event that caused me to move out here, I don't respond to situations the same anymore. Maybe I'm not scared of death anymore. Maybe I'm mentally unstable. Maybe I'm weird. Or when I established that this thing wasn't human, I started to smile. It fooled me, got me out here in the woods, in its domain, and was probably making or going to make an attempt on my life. But I might as well piss it off a little. So I flicked my flashlight up and revealed its face. It actually was a girl, sort of. She was super pale and had an abnormally large eyes that were completely black. When the light hit her face, her head snapped forward and made eye contact with me, and her jaw dropped open 3 times larger than any human could. And then she screamed. It was loud, like inhuman loud. It sounded like a girl's scream, as if it were being played through massive speakers to make it ear-splitting. Then I felt something closing around my neck. She hadn't moved, but was somehow choking me, still screaming. I have realized while living here that the entities that can hurt you can also get hurt themselves. Now, most of them are tough as nails, but they can be hurt. This memory went through my head as I felt something warm dripping onto my neck, and my left ear went quiet. Busted eardrum. I aggressively threw my flashlight at the bitch, and it connected with what I assume was her eye. I couldn't tell you for sure because I didn't have a flashlight. And yes, I forgot to use the gun. It was new, and in this current life or death situation, I forgot I had it. Luckily, this girl wasn't one of the toughest ones, and I felt the grip on my neck loosen, and her scream stopped. No sooner had I taken my first breath when she bent over backwards, possession style, and sprinted into the woods in reverse. When I finally caught my breath, I slowly walked by to my campsite and went to sleep in the tent. You may be asking, why didn't I go back home after that? But it was a 20-minute hike and my flashlight was broken, so I had to wait till morning. Slept pretty well though. No noises woke me up.
I woke up the next morning, expecting my ear to be killing me, but miraculously, it was completely back to normal. I later figured out that it was the lady in the tree who fixed my ear. That's a story for another time. That morning, I just packed up everything and headed back home. The only thing that got messed up was my flashlight, so I wasn't even that disappointed in the trip. I still don't camp out there anymore because no matter how weirdly wired I am, that girl really did freak me out a good bit, and I'm sure she's still out there. What you will notice so far is that these entities aren't really very effective killers, but that doesn't go for everything out here. I can't tell y'all about the property without mentioning Skinny. Fuck Skinny. I understand that skinwalkers are a common topic on the horror scene at the moment, and from what I can tell, I think that's the creature I'm dealing with. But I could also be wrong, because if this is a skinwalker, it's advanced to another level. Not only does it imitate voice, it imitates appearance, and it really wants me dead or gone. I like to call it Skinny. I think it pisses him off. And when I say his name, I say it out loud, because especially at night, I know he's listening. I've lived here for 3 years now, and he's been harassing me for about a year. And he's good. One of the smartest things to come after me so far. The only one that can seem to almost get in my head. He tries to lure me out. Not by pretending to be someone in trouble like other imitators that I've dealt with before. He's aware that stuff like that doesn't work on me anymore. No. He tries to piss me off. He wants me to try to kill him. The problem is we both know I probably can't. One time he got me though. I was watching a documentary about veteran suicides. It's a terrible topic. I'm a supporter of our armed forces, and I think it's terrible that our government doesn't take better care of the vets that risk everything overseas so we don't have to. They were doing a slideshow of men who had unfortunately lost the struggle with their own demons. I had to look away for a second because this one guy head that appeared on the screen looked too young and happy to have gone to this dog place. He was mixed race from what I could tell, athletic looking, and had a big dimpled smile on his face. When I look away, I'm suddenly staring at the same kid outside my window. Same smile, same build, same uniform. One difference. Across his forehead was the word failure. I instantly knew it was Skinny. He was trying to imitate this kid. He was insulting him, and he finally struck a nerve. I had seen him imitate so many other people and try so many other tactics, but this was the one that finally broke me. I was ending this creature. I exploded out of my chair and bolted from my bedroom, grabbed my .45 caliber handgun and proceeded to walk towards the same window the young soldier was still staring through. I got within 5 feet and saw that the word had changed. It now spelled out, I deserved it. After reading this, I didn't hesitate to raise my gun and fire 2 shots. But I think he ducked them. Bastard is fast. I stormed outside to try to find him, but he was anywhere to be seen.
That's when I heard, "Gotcha," whispered into my ear, and I was flung against the wall of my house. The gun flew out of my hand, in the process broke 2 ribs and dislocated my right shoulder. I was a dead man, and he knew it. Ever since the incident that led me to buy a house by myself out in the middle of the woods, I don't think I've ever felt fear again. Something is wrong with my head, but I did feel defeated. I fell for his trap, and now he's going to kill me. As these thoughts passed through my brain, I passed out from the pain and the concussion, probably.
Then, for some reason that I still don't understand, I woke up. It was bright outside, and I was covered in blood and more pain than I have ever been in my entire life. But I was alive. Why was I alive? I struggled to stand up with my right arm hanging loosely at my side, and I soon noticed the words carved into the outside wall of my house. Next time. Fuck Skinny. Ever since I got back from the hospital, I told the doctors I fell off a roof. I've been trying to find a way to deal with or kill a skinwalker, if there is a way, or if he's even a skinwalker. He beat me. I'm usually pretty lighthearted with most of my experiences, no matter how intense they are.
But I just can't with this one, because if I lose to Skinny again, I guess I will be signing off for good. Be careful out there, and don't be fooled like me. There isn't always a next time. But hey, not dead yet, so maybe there will be a next time. I plan on writing down all my experiences in the future, so keep your eyes peeled for those. Until next time, Cole signing off. That's the end of part 1. What are you guys' thoughts?
I enjoyed it.
It was interesting. But I do have one question.
Yeah, what's up?
Don't go live out in the woods.
Hey, this isn't me.
It's not really a question, but it's a declaration. Don't go live out in the woods. You need Google to know anything that you're doing at this point. That's the last place you need to be.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, he had a reason, though.
Not really. He's like, ooh, property? I'm gonna buy this property.
Okay, in this economy, I'm honestly willing to live in the woods.
So you're saying if you were offered a deal of these woods, you would totally take on the experience. And you
100%.
Kudos to you.
I have a good feeling you probably found dead after the first day.
Damn. I don't know why you're saying I'd be found. You're coming with me.
Wait, whoa. You're saying so you'll buy a property, then you'll drag me along with you?
Yeah.
That changes
on my own.
That changes the question prompt though. Would you live alone in the woods? Now you're not living alone.
Oh, you're right.
Or am I mistaken there, Malcolm?
Or not?
No, I'm just a bad listener.
Yeah, it happens to the best of us.
Whoever wrote this is very obsessed with a 45 caliber, which is.
They also don't even know what gun that is. That's a caliber of bullet, not a gun.
Yeah. It's
he just looked too far into it. He saw what type of bullet it shot and was like, "Oh, that's good enough."
Based off what we've read so far, we get an idea that he likes military stuff, but I'm pretty sure he's not well read in it. What do you guys think?
Clearly.
Yeah.
Do you think this was written as a high school wrote this, or you think older? What do you guys think?
Older.
It's kind of hard to tell because a lot of people just do research on stuff and just kind of throw stuff on a page.
Yeah.
I would say 20 to 30 within that age range.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say high school.
Okay. I'll give him this. I'm hooked, but I don't think I'm hooked in the way they want us to be hooked. I find it almost humorous of like this guy's going through all this shit, and he's just like, yeah, I'm gonna be here for 3 more years and just keep going. Like totally nonchalant, has no fear. Just like okay, you know.
It was a cheap house, man. What can I say?
Just sounds like a mental block at that point, but a house is a house. I get that.
Yeah, like I do wish we had maybe more emotional output from the protagonist, but maybe in part 2, you know?
Maybe.
Do you guys have any predictions that might happen in part 2, or you guys have no predictions at all?
I've read the story, so
So stay tuned.
yeah.
All right, what about you, Malcolm?
Same. Don't want to give anything away.
Okay, so I'm the one going into this blind. All right, so then I'm gonna predict. I think he's gonna find Skinny and either like maim them or actually almost kill them. That's my prediction. Let's get back into it.
My property is at normal, part 2. I'm happy to see that my experiences from part 1 got some attention. Wasn't expecting this stuff to actually get any traction. I'm mainly here to vent and have a place to catalog the stuff that happens around my house. People also seem to enjoy the part where the naked dude attacked me, then cartwheeled into the woods crying like a baby when I stabbed him. Still not sure if he was human. Now I feel obliged to tell you more of my experiences. Also, feel free to leave any questions you have, and I will try and answer them in the next post. That being said, if you haven't read part 1, we did, hint hint. I suggest you go back now and read it. I'm going to tell you the following experiences as if you already know about the other experiences I have written about having on this property. This place is not normal after all, and takes some getting used to. Now that the intro is out of the way, I think we can start with Camo. And Camo is a fucking nuisance. The first time I came into contact with him was during the first whitetail deer season I had on my property. Now, I'm a hunter, but the program that is helping me after the incident said I wasn't allowed to have guns because the noise draws too much attention. Bullshit. I live in the middle of nowhere, and there isn't anybody else for miles. Unless you count the Chosen, but I'm pretty sure that the program is worried about them. Luckily, the lady in the tree hooked me up with the .45 caliber I now have in my possession, but
Caliber.
I didn't have it upon first meeting Camo, unfortunately. Anyway, back to the story. I first saw him when I was walking towards a ladder stand I had set up on a tree to watch deer. Since I could no longer kill them, and yes, I could have a bow, but I'm shit with a bow. I would risk just hurting the animal, and I don't like the idea of an animal that is suffering, because I couldn't make a shot that would kill it instantly. Now, as I approach my stand, I notice a figure already sitting in it. It's about the size of a regular human. He was dressed in full camouflage, pants, jacket, boots, hat, face mask, and backpack. He actually seemed like a regular person, which I hadn't seen any of those in the woods for the entirety of the 4 months I had been living there. The things that live on this property are generally more extreme, but no matter how relieved I was to see a proper human for once, he was deep in my property and hunting in my stand, and I had to get him to leave. I reluctantly shouted over to him, "Hey, you ain't supposed to be here. Time to go, dude." Now, I was about 75 yards away and to his left, but I yelled plenty loud for him to hear clearly. He didn't flinch. He stayed facing straight forward like a statue. What a prick. Look, try to be creepy all you want, but ignoring somebody like that is just rude. I know he hears me, and I have a reason to believe he was just trying to freak me out because I've made him break character before. So, after I yelled, he ignores me. I start getting impatient. I yelled the same thing at him again, a little louder, and still ended up with the same response. What a dick. Now I'm livid because he's making me ruin all my chances of seeing deer this afternoon by making me yell at him. So naturally, I start a brisk stroll over to him, over to tell him to his face, or maybe kick his ass. I already noticed he didn't have a rifle, so I just assumed that he was watching like I was planning on doing. Of course, he could have had a concealed handgun, but I'm a dumbass, so I didn't consider that.
Then I heard the crunch of something under my foot, and the sudden sound of rope sliding across the surface at high speed. I froze for a fraction of a second, and before I could speak, out and oh shit. I'm hanging upside down from my ankle. There was a loop around my leg that held me suspended 7 feet off the ground like a damn cartoon. I was like a fucking Looney Tune character. I couldn't help but roll my eyes. I immediately knew it was Camo. And when I looked up or down, shit, I was upside down, so I don't really know where I had to look, but I saw him slowly climbing down the ladder. Like, really slowly. What a dramatic guy. If he wasn't so obsessed with appearances, he could have killed me. That's what I think he wanted to do anyway. There was a machete on his hip that I could now see, and the blade was chipped at it, or had a chip in it, away, right? Weird. Maybe it looked serrated. Wouldn't have been very useful to a tool unless you wanted to use it to inflict pain. I think the biggest flaw with Camo's trap, though, was that he didn't account for the single fact that 99% of people who live alone in the woods learn that carrying a large knife at all times is a necessary thing if you want to stay alive. I wish I could tell you that I did a flip after I cut myself down and landed on my feet like some sort of badass, but I didn't. I landed on my back of my neck, and my vision went dark for 15 seconds, which I guess was enough time for the tweedled dumbass to finally get to the bottom of my ladder stand. As I stood up, I saw that he was standing completely still at the base of the stand, still 50 yards away from me, staring at me. I could hear his thoughts from here. Damn, why did he get out? Shit. Then he turned and bolted. This dude was booking. I lost sight of him in less than 30 seconds into my chase, and he had to give up. I need to jog more. And what more? By the time I got back to the ladder stand, it was already getting dark. I didn't even get to watch any deer. I've seen Camo on a multitude of other occasions as well, but I figured him out. He got me the first time, but his traps really aren't that sneaky. They're elaborate, but not sneaky. He always appears in an area that I plan on hunting in. I don't know how he knows where I'm gonna be, but I stopped questioning stuff on this land a long time ago, and I always noticed him long before I get to the location. Again, I have no idea how he plans that shit out. And secondly, there is always a trap set somewhere directly between when I first spot him to where I see him from. The trap will always be on that line. Also, another important thing to realize is that none of his traps are fatal. They are all meant to keep me from escaping, but not kill me. They do hurt though. One time I almost stepped in a bear trap he had set out, and it for sure would have broken my leg if it had gotten me. This non-fatal part was his downfall. I figured out that he didn't want me to die in a trap. He probably wanted to do the deed himself, or maybe do something else, but he really didn't want me dead in a trap. So all I had to do is get riled up as to die in a trap, right? After the lady in the tree hooked me up with a pistol a little over a year and a half ago, one of the first problems I wanted to solve with it was the creator of the various nets, ankle snares, and holes that attempted to contain me many times before. And I knew exactly how I was going to do it. One of Camo's reoccurring traps was just a large 11-foot deep hole covered by a large amount of suspiciously patterned sticks and leaves that could literally be seen 100 yards away. I just had to wait until he used this trap again. After a swinging log that I think was supposed to knock me out and another net that was meant to land on top of me, I might add to that, it was made of wires so I couldn't cut through it. But also, it had a glare from the sunlight that made it impossible not to see. I finally came across the trap I was looking for. 4 weeks after I got the gun, I found myself walking toward an 11-foot hole, trying to pretend I didn't see it. Suddenly, I started falling.
I was ready for the fall, let out a loud yell as I rattled downwards. As I hit the ground, I stayed as quiet as possible, which was hard considering the broken toe and dislocated knee I had just received. Fuck Camo for making me do this. I army crawled over to the side of the hole and laid my head against the side to make it look like I had broken my neck. Then I waited. It took 15 minutes for that little prick to dramatically make his way over to me, but I heard him walk up the edge of the hole. I obviously had to close my eyes to appear dead because I couldn't run the risk of blinking, but I almost smiled when I heard Camo mutter to himself, "Oh shit! No. They're gonna be so fucking pissed." I took advantage of the moment and quickly opened my eyes, whipped out the pistol, firing 3 shots at him as quickly as I could. I missed all but one. The bullet that had made its mark put a hole in Camo's shoulder, and she let out a garbled scream of nonsense gibberish, something along the lines of, "You piece of fucking, I can't believe that, you ass fucking shit, ah!" He did end up running away, but as he ran, I heard him say, Fuck this dude. Ah, shit, I'm fucking done." I was laughing my ass off, till I realized I was severely injured and had to climb out of this hole. Good thing it was daytime though, or I might not have noticed the black rope that Camo had lowered into the hole while he was cursing himself for killing me. I somehow managed to prop my knee back into joint and, based on shit I had seen earlier in life, and climbed up to limp my way back to the house. That was a good day. Broken toes are fucking expensive to get treated though. The best part is that I haven't seen Camo since that day. It actually worked. I wish I could pull something like that off with Skinny. Another thing that I guess I need to explain to all of you readers is the lady in the tree. I've mentioned her a few times now, and at least some of you are probably wondering about her. I honestly don't know much about her myself, but she is hands down the best thing on this property. My first experience with her was when she healed a broken eardrum that I suffered when meeting what I think was a banshee down in my creek. It was busted when she screeched really loud, and I went to sleep and woke up perfectly fine the next morning. I almost thought it was all a dream until I saw the blood stain on my pillow and broken flashlight that I had used in personal defense. Well, I guess this was the first time this affected me directly, but not the first time she had helped me out. The first time, I didn't realize it was her until last night. It was the gun. The gun that I talked about purchasing in part 1 wasn't really purchased. I just wasn't willing to admit that I looted it off an old corpse that I found in an abandoned log cabin in the back of the property. This is an example of how sneaky she is. I only started to wonder if it was her doing while I was recording the first set of these stories, and I started thinking about how good of shape this gun was in. Of course, it was a little dirty when I found it, but it was also in perfect operating condition, and I figured that the skeleton that was clutching it didn't need it anymore. But hell, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if he came to life each night. Either way, I left the cabin with a new sidearm and 2 boxes of ammunition. I didn't really think about it too much, because finding a gun on a body is pretty mild considering the events that I go down here on a week-to-week basis. But yesterday, I started questioning the real origins of this gun. It was so well maintained and a new feeling when I got it. The skeleton looked like it had been there forever. Not to mention the fact that the gun was unloaded and the box ammo were unopened. But the skeleton looked like he had died holding the gun, like he was intending to use it. It didn't add up. So I headed back to the cabin, and I found my answer. Everything was the same when I got there, as it had been over a year ago. I mean, nothing had changed, especially not the body. The exact same as before. I was nervous at first, not because the body scared me, but because the joke about the skeleton coming back to life from earlier wasn't really that far-fetched in this place. I've never seen a undead skeleton, but I have seen other forms of undead. Maybe I'll tell you all about those experiences sometime.
Nervous or not, though, I had to confirm my suspicions. So I approached the body and started examining the clothes. Just like I had expected, the flannel shirt and brown jeans had no tags. Not like they had been ripped out, but like they were never there to begin with. Now there was only one more thing to check. I took out my knife and scraped the blade down the skeleton's exposed arm bone. Sure enough, a shaving fell off. It was wood. The entire skeleton was made of wood and painted a lightish brown, among other discolorations, to look like the real deal. The lady in the tree is very talented when it comes to wood, but she can do so much more. I've only seen her in person 2 times. Once when I caught a glimpse of her smiling as I walked into an opening to a tree, only to close the opening with a door that fit so perfectly I couldn't see the edges. And I walked up to it. It just looked like a normal tree. And a second time, 2 days later, or 2 days after I encountered the screaming banshee in the creek, I saw her out the window of my front door, smiling. She winked at me and ducked out of view. I ran to the door to try and see her fully, but by the time I swung the door open, she was gone in the night. Nowhere to be seen. Which is really annoying. I would almost consider us friends by now, but she still won't show herself to me fully. Now, when I saw her for the second time, I didn't know what or who she was. But when I looked at the ground I noticed a small sheet of what looked like homemade paper. On it was a short message that read, "I wish to congratulate on killing the Gila. He was bringing evil over the land that was distressing the forest. I don't know how you actually ended him, but I am happy all the same. I've seen you roaming, and I am certain you have seen me. We work toward a goal, cleansing this land. My vows as a medicine woman keep
Keep me from
me
directly interfering with the creatures of this land, but I wish you luck on your mission, and we'll support you. We'll support you from the shadows as best I can.
and your ear feels
I hope
feels
your
better."
ear feels better.
So I think the Keela she was talking about me killing, I think, was a rabid coyote that I had killed a few days before in the creek incident. It was hairless and just stared at me through the trees. I think it was trying to intimidate me to leave its territory, so I shot it between the eyes and left. My territory, bitch. But this was the first time I realized that I had somebody on my side on this land, and that was a relief. She was actually really helpful. Once I got bit by a rattlesnake. When I got home, there was a bottle labeled anti-venom sitting on my kitchen table. Another time, I got bit by one of the shadow children while I was hiking, and when I got home, there was a bottle of purple liquid in a glass vial in the same place on the table. I honestly expected it to heal the wound or something, but it just made me really drunk. Guess she couldn't help me much that time. She's done other stuff too, but now I'm kind of worried about her. I haven't heard or experienced any help from her in 8 months. I'm worried something got to her. Or even worse, what if she is mad at me? I mean, Skinny almost killed me 6 months ago and she didn't do shit. I've grown to like her and even depend on her a bit, but she is just gone. I think I'll call it quits for this post, but hopefully I can stay alive long enough to post more. The hunt for Skinny continues, and if you don't know who that is, shame on you for not reading the first post before now. And if you do know who that is, I appreciate any suggestions you have for killing. See y'all next time.
Full sign off. Well, that's the end of part 2. So what everyone starts, did you predict something? I know my prediction didn't come true, sadly. Guys?
Sorry, I'm looking for the piece that I'm talking about. Camo is probably one of my favorite, I guess, entities in this.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fair. I kind of agree.
He just seems like just a random guy who just wants to fuck with them, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it did say... Where was it? Fuck, it's farther up. It was talking about they're going to be so pissed when he was doing the fake death.
Yeah, but is that talking about the owner, the guy, the protagonist, or is it doing this for someone else? That's my question.
I think he's doing it for somebody else based on what was said in the story.
What do you think, Malcolm?
Yeah, it does kind of sound like it's for somebody else, but it honestly just kind of felt like a poor attempt of a Home Alone villain most of the time. With like a purpose, obviously, but we still don't know 100% if that is the case or not, but yeah, it's a fun theory.
I like the lady in the woods.
Yeah, I like how when he got bit by a shadow child, don't know what that is, but it was just alcohol. I like to think that it was just really strong alcohol that she gave him, like, hey, good luck.
Probably blinding moonshine. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Like the good hooch.
Made from the tree sap.
Oh, yeah.
Would you guys camp here? Would you?
No.
Hell yeah.
No.
Yes.
What's wrong with you? No. And I like camping. No.
I don't like camping. That's the funny.
So you hate
That's crazy.
camping,
It sounds like our words should be reversed.
Yeah. That's wild.
So.
Look, I really enjoy creepy stuff like this.
Yeah, reading, it's one thing.
Experiencing is right.
Experiencing it has got to be better.
Better?
Yeah, with your trusted 45.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like guns. Somebody else can hold. I'll give that to Cole.
Wait, why am I always
also
brought
would think
along?
That's the wrong option as well.
Ouch. Anything you guys want to add
Well,
to analyzing? So anything the author could do more with or less with?
I've noticed a few like spelling discrepancies, but
Yeah.
nothing super major. I know it tripped us up a few times. I believe all three of us stumped a few times.
I will admit, they had a lot of grammatical issues that I tried fixing, make it a bit easier to read.
You're
Well,
good.
we appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
But yeah, my only thing is I wish I could relate more to the protagonist because they seem so just not checked in. It's like they just don't seem to care. And it kind of bothers me in that kind of situations. Like I want them to like be more fearful, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I agree. Or have somebody that is more fearful. Know what I mean?
Yeah, like a great example. You guys seen Evil Dead, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The people when they're in the woods, like Bruce Campbell, like he's scared, but he's handling it though, and I like that mix. I can believe it. I can believe the fear. I can believe it all. Especially that one scene with the woman. Just like I'm like, oh shit, this shit's scary. I'm in, right? But with this guy, he's so outchecked that it just seems like we're reading like a joke story. Does that make sense?
I'm just
I
thinking
also think it's hard to compare.
maybe
It's
having,
like-
because it's kind of established he's not the most there mentally.
yeah.
Maybe just putting in a character that is more human, I guess, is a decent way of saying it.
Like the last story we read. I don't know if you listened to the last one, Malcolm, but the last one we read was A Strange Device. And I like those characters because they were human and they were more reactive to the stuff they read. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just my personal thoughts. I like more emotion, I guess, with protagonists.
What do you mean you don't like the strong silent type with a big crowbar?
Oh my god. No, I need a bit more. This ain't Half-Life 3.
And it never will be. And with that,
With that, we'll call it, I guess.
Yeah. Thanks for listening or watching. Hope you guys enjoyed and hope we can read this or maybe something else next time we gather to read some stories.
and hopefully I'm there as well.
Peace.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.